All right, guys, we are back for another episode of the On Call Empath, and I am really, really excited for my next guest, Nidhi Gangwani, who's a manifestation coach. And you guys know how big I am on that. I've been following her on Instagram, and it's been motivating me to do a lot of things for manifestation of all aspects of my life. So I figured all you empaths out there definitely don't want to miss this episode. Nidhi, it's an honor to have you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to talk to you all today.
Absolutely. And your Instagrams like just really are powerful. And it
Oh,
just kind of made me want to have you on here for all the listeners today because we use manifestation in all aspects of our lives. But I feel like if we don't do it the right way, or maybe I feel like I'm maybe doing it wrong, today we're going to set the record straight exactly how to manifest. Because a lot of people use it as a buzzword, like, oh, just manifest this, it'll happen. But there's a lot to it. There's like
yes.
work that you have to put into it. So let me ask you, how did you become a coach? And if you can kind of talk us into how you became, a manifester.
Okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. So, growing up, I didn't have the best childhood. I always struggled a lot in
Yeah.
life. Like I struggled from a very young age. Especially academically.
Yeah.
I in grade four, I was a kindergarten reading level, but I still got passed on to every
Yeah.
single grade.
Yeah.
I just never, I always just struggled with school and just struggled in life. And I had this victim mentality.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself that there are always like, there's people that are lucky and then there's people that aren't lucky. And I just felt like I was one of those people that just I just wasn't lucky, and my life isn't going to change and it's just going to be this way. It's going to be a
Yeah.
struggle. So obviously if we come down to manifestation, I was manifesting kind of the same scenarios of struggle and victimhood and just feeling like the victim. And fast forward to 2012, um, I my family, like, we would go on these beautiful vacations every year. And my family, we went to New York City, and that's like a place of like dreams, and people make
Yeah.
their dreams a reality. And we went there, and I was miserable. Like, I was miserable. If you could take me to like a tropical island and I would be miserable. And
Oh.
it was just like, oh, I don't want to be here. And it's so negative, and I hated
Hmm.
feeling this way, but I couldn't get out of it. I felt helpless, and I felt like I had no control over my life.
Yeah.
Um, so we were staying at this hotel and in New York City. And in this hotel, one of the floors had like this beautiful cafe, and like there, from like floor to ceiling, there were books lined up all across the room. And I remember just kind of like walking around, and I felt guided to this like section, like in the corner of the cafe.
Hmm.
And I felt guided. And you would think like a book kind of guides you because it's like a neon book, or it's bright, or, like the
Yeah.
color of it, right? And I don't know why, it was just boring, like beige book with dark blue writing. And I walk up to it, and it said the power of positive thinking. And I don't know why, I just felt guided to just grab that book. And literally the moment I opened it, I couldn't stop reading, like,
Hmm.
at all. Like, I was like, this is so captivating. Um, so I opened the book and I started reading, and it talked a lot about the law of attraction.
Yeah.
So when a lot of people discover manifestation, they discover it through The Secret.
Yes.
I don't know if that's how you discovered
Right. I
the,
did. Yeah.
yeah, which is awesome. Like, everyone discovers it in their own way, but I discovered it through this book, and he talks a lot about the principles that are talked about in The Secret: ask, believe, receive, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest kind of takeaway I got from that book is we can create our life based on our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to become more aware of the power of our thoughts. And that's where my life kind of changed forever at that moment, where I really created an awareness. It was like a light bulb moment. Like, what? I have control over my life. I'm not the victim.
Yeah.
Like, that's when my life changed.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
That's an
you.
awesome story, and I can resonate with that too. I mean, I was not the smartest kid in school, and I struggled through um, a lot of classes. In fact, I've had places where I've gone where there's like, well, he's probably not going to get to college. He's not going to
Mm-hmm.
get very far. He has a reading level of this. But
Yeah.
I remember the guy's face who said that, and it was a doctor, and he's still alive, and I just almost want to go to him and be like, look at what I've accomplished, look at all these degrees. But when I took that like that victim mentality out of my head, and I said, I have to
Mm-hmm.
better myself. And so I discovered the secret a long time ago, but I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
put any uh action into it. I like figured like, okay, I'm just gonna think about it and think about it, and nothing happened. And I would get frustrated, and so I figured like this is not working for me. Like I'm like, like you were like everything was negative and you were stuck in a place. And a lot of people that are listening right now, you may
Mm-hmm.
feel that also like whatever, I've tried that, manifestation stuff, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But we're both sitting here and we're both saying we're both here in front of us, like looking at each other, knowing that it has
Yeah.
worked for us in our own
It does.
way.
Yeah.
But we had to go through a rock bottom phase, and I want to touch a little bit on that with you. You had
Mm-hmm.
to basically have more like a awakening or a breakdown to get to where you are today. Can you explain that a little bit?
And also the thing is it doesn't mean that once I discovered the law of attraction,
Hmm.
my life completely changed.
Right.
Yes, it did, in the sense of I discovered it, but it didn't mean that at that moment my life was like perfect and it was
Mm.
smooth sailing. That's not the case at all. It was a lot of trial and error. I think when I first discovered it, I really believed that I had to be positive all the time. I could
Yes.
not have this,
Yes.
I could not have one negative thought.
Yeah.
And oh my God, if you try this out, it's exhausting. Oh my God, so exhausting. Like, I remember something upset me and I was like, no, I have a positive thought. I feel good. I'm fine. Like, and you
I'm
could just tell
fine.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm fine. It's okay. Like, I don't want to manifest anything bad. So I'm just going to be very positive and like everything's good.
Yeah.
It got very exhausting, and that doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't lie to yourselves, folks. If you're having a bad day or you feel like crappy, say you are, and just acknowledge what you're feeling. Don't try to trick your own self, because you can't fake your own self
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, no, you definitely can. So I would say it was a lot of trial and error. And I tried, and I'm sure, a lot of listeners too as well, when they discovered it, they know of journaling, visualization,
Mhm.
um, making a vision board or things like that. So all of these things are tools that help you become a vibrational match to the thing that you want to manifest. So
Mhm.
here's the thing. If you, for example, have a law of attraction routine, like, so you wake up in the morning, you say your affirmations, you journal out what you want to
Mhm.
manifest, you create a vision board, you do all these things, right? And then um, after you do it, you feel really good. But then as the day goes on, you start to go back into that low vibrational state that you kind of,
Yes.
you kind of feel bad again. And then you're just
Yeah.
like, does this work? Like, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
like, how does manifestation work then? Because
Yeah.
I can't feel happy all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so manifestation is definitely a process, and it's it's all about using these tools, yes, to make yourself feel good, but to really actually focus on your mental diet. What is your inner dialogue? How are you speaking to yourself?
Mhm.
And this is something I always tell my clients is audit your thoughts. Like, set
Mhm.
a timer every day for, a few times during the day, and start to, when the timer rings, start to write down, how do I feel? Like, what thoughts am I having in
Mhm.
my mind, right? Because manifestation comes down to your belief system. Do
Yeah.
you really believe that you can have something.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe it,
Not
then
gonna
then
happen.
it's very hard to manifest the thing that you
Yeah.
want. And that's why we
Yeah.
use these tools
Mhm.
to help us reinforce our beliefs in terms of
Yeah.
the things that we want to manifest.
It's a very good point. And I know a lot of trauma victims and empaths that are tuning in. Um,
Mhm.
there is also a big factor that I will share myself, which I never did. The people around you play a big significant role. So if you're in a bad energy field, which I
Yeah,
was, like a lot of these
yeah.
times where I was down, how, I mean, is it possible to manifest and be in that flow state when you're surrounded by negativity, people that put you down? Because I was always around that type of stuff. But the
Hmm.
minute I got rid of those people and I did that audit of every person of, do they deserve my time rather than the other way around,
Hmm.
everything started changing because I got rid of a lot of negative people and the positive people started coming to me, and that's when the magic happened. That's when I was writing stuff down, and I would
Hmm.
basically say, how am I going to get there? Okay, these are the steps. What am I going to do 5% every day to get to there? Whether
Yeah.
it's, eating a little bit healthier or movement, how can I manifest this, or money, or you know relationships? Like, how can we do that? It's not given to you. It starts with energy. So I want to just touch base on that. Where does this energy come from, and why is it, like, what does it have to do with manifestation and your expertise?
So, energy is very important when it comes to the manifestation process. So, we are all energetic beings, right? So, if you look at Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks, it's a book called Ask and It Is Given. It's one of the OG books of manifestation, and she talks about the vibrational scale. So it means that all the emotions that you feel, so if you feel joy or jealousy or any of this, it's all on a scale from high to low, right?
Right. Hmm.
And each emotion has its own frequency.
Hmm.
So we are all energetic beings. We are vibrating at a certain frequency.
Hmm.
So when it comes to, toxic friendships, or if you're surrounded with a lot of people that complain a lot, that have a victim mentality, you tend to, and I don't know if this has happened with you, say if you're in a really good mood, right?
Yeah.
And you go and you meet up with a bunch of friends, and like maybe a few of them are really just negative and low vibrational, and then after you meet up with them, you go home and the next day you feel very tired and drained, and you're like, why do I feel this way? Yesterday I was feeling so optimistic and positive, but why do I feel so drained? And the reason being is, if we look at the if we look at the universal laws, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy,
Hmm.
what that means is energy is not created or destroyed, it's simply transferred. So in the example of meeting up with your friends and feeling drained after, that means that your higher energy was transferred. You gave your high energy, your positive energy, to your friends. They felt better, their vibration
Yes.
increased, and their negative energy kind of brought you down. And and it was just a transference of energy. So that's why you
Yes.
feel negative, right? The
Yes.
next day. and
Absolutely.
and if we want to relate this to manifestation, how are you able to manifest things if your energy field becomes quote unquote polluted,
Yeah.
where you just feel so drained all the time? We all have energy, and we all
Hmm.
have the choice, the power of choice. How are we going to use our own energy and transmute it and create the life that we want? So it's very important to protect your energy. And if you don't mind me kind of talking about my experience of my
Sure.
experiment that I did in 2020, and
Sure.
that's kind
Absolutely.
of how, when I realized, how powerful our energy is. So um, I do have, I did have some friends who, anytime I would see them, they would always talk about their problems and their issues. And like, I always
Yes.
felt like, right? Like it just felt like like I was like a dumping ground or
Yeah.
something, like dumped
Uh,
all their problems.
I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of empaths can resonate with that, especially my clients that are listening, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I always felt like that. And during the lockdown, this is when we all really got to focus on ourselves. Like, I feel like a lot of people really had a lot of realizations during this time. And I know I did. I realized that I was putting my energy into the wrong things. Like, I really wasn't focusing on myself. I was pouring it so much into other people
Yes.
that I wasn't happy. If I'm not happy, how can I make other people happy? So that's why it's very important to protect your energy. And I noticed that once I started to cut off kind of toxic friendships and really focus inward into myself and what I want to manifest into my life,
Mhm,
that's when things started to happen. And it started to happen quite quickly
mhm,
because all that energy was not polluted by negativity. And
mhm.
it was all meant for me to just focus directly on myself and what I want to create.
Yeah.
So it's very important to focus on protecting your energy, protecting your aura, your energetic
Yeah.
field to manifest the things that
Th-
you want.
This is so weird that you're talking about it. This happened to me last night because I was like, I met some people and I wasn't sure why I was feeling so drained and all of a
Hmm.
sudden I got really tired and I told them like, I'll contact them later and I was just so drained and it's like maybe like I need to just unplug everything and just be alone. And for empaths, I know that's like a huge thing is recharging your batteries and just being alone, whether it's with nature or just kind of being in your room just to recharge. Because I know for me, like if I don't get that alone time every
Hmm.
day just to reflect and just be myself, I will burn out real quick. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's a good reminder too, like, I think when you went to kind of see your friends and everything, like you don't really realize like how good you're feeling until the next day and you're like,
what the
oh,
heck?
I don't really like feel good right now. And like you just feel exhausted because it's
Yeah,
a lot. Like you genuinely want to help people. So you're really, active when you talk to someone, you're really
sure.
present in the moment, right? So you really want to help them, and it does deplete your energy, and it doesn't mean that like cut off everyone, be a loner. No, but surround yourself with more positive,
Yeah.
uplifting people. Like your body will tell you, your feelings, your energy will tell you if
Hmm.
someone is right for you or not.
Absolutely. Listen to your body. I think there's a book called The Body Always Keeps Score. That's a something that I truly live by because physical pain also is a big part of
Mm-hmm.
it because I lived with pain for so many years and it all of a sudden it was mysteriously gone and I was like, wait a minute, who were in my
Absolutely.
life at that time? What was I doing? Everything around me was negative. Everything I was doing, I wasn't happy. Like just until I started to figure out and my truth and getting rid of those negative people,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the transformation happened. And so just kind of switching gears here, um, can you talk about like the missing link of law of attraction? Because I know like everyone has their own, kind of thought about that. What is your take on that?
So my take on the missing link is your inner dialogue, your mental diet. I would say I think that you can do all the routines and everything like that. I think people get stuck on, they feel like with manifestation, you need to do, this X, Y, and Z kind of routine. These routines are just made for you to kind of instill self belief in yourself. So you don't have to do it every day. Sometimes what I do is I'll do my routine for a week, and then the next week I won't do it. I will just kind of go on about my day because
Hmm.
I know internally whatever I want is going to happen and come into my life. And that's why it's really important to focus on, what are you telling yourself? Like, say if you want to manifest, a successful business, or you want to manifest kind of
Yes.
growth in your business, you don't want to, like, if you want to manifest growth, but then your inner dialogue is saying, you know, I don't think I can get a client. I don't think
Yeah.
that this is going to happen. Like, then that means that that's kind of like a telltale sign. Then that means that you need to kind of work through those thoughts. Why are you feeling this way? Why do you feel like you can't manifest a client? Why do you feel like you're not deserving of a
Mm-hmm.
successful business, or you're not deserving of anything, right? So that's when you really need to work through these
Mm-hmm.
issues. And I think it's important to create awareness around these thoughts that you have. When you create awareness, that's when you're able to kind of
Mm-hmm.
figure out, okay, what is really like missing here? What is limiting me right now?
Yes. Very well said. And
Thank
guys, you
you.
don't have to meditate like
No.
hardcore. You don't have to like journal like I do. I mean, there's so many things you can do to get in that zone. As long as,
And play
yeah.
around with it too, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
play around with it. If you feel called to do affirmations, then do affirmations. I love affirmations, and
Mhm,
I do journaling maybe once or twice a week, but affirmations I
mhm,
like to do it in the mornings, and it just makes me feel good. So play around with
mhm.
things, like, and make, and you want to feel good with it. I got rid of
Mm.
my vision board actually last year. And I
Oh,
know a
wow.
lot of people would be like, why did you get rid of it? Because here's the thing. I think, so if any of your listeners have a vision board, I want you to look at your vision board, and when you look at it, do you feel stress around it? Do you feel anxious, like, oh, I don't know if this is going to happen, and like it starts to create a lot of like internal pressure? Then I
Mhm,
would suggest just get rid of it for like a month or two, and
mhm,
literally you'll start manifesting the things on your vision board
mhm,
really fast. Because when you place so much focus on the thing that you want, but you have a lot of anxiety behind it,
mhm.
like, I want it, but I need to have it. If I don't have it, it's just
Yeah.
gonna like freak me out. Like, I'm just not, my life is gonna suck if I don't have it. Then what tends to happen is you're creating resistance. You're actually pushing the thing that you
Yeah,
want to
way.
you
Mhm,
away. So really look at your vision board and ask yourself, like, how do I feel? Do I feel excited that this is going to be my life, or
mhm.
does it make me feel like anxious and nervous, and it puts more pressure on me?
Yeah,
So, right back to your body telling you, how do you
sure.
feel about things, right? So
Yes. Yeah,
yeah.
that is some, yeah, very interesting. And sometimes we can do the opposite. So, definitely I was always like worried, like, oh my gosh, if I do this wrong, am I gonna attract the opposite thing that I don't want, and
Mhm.
so it's also for me was a scarcity mindset, like when I started thinking of abundance, especially
Mhm.
with wealth and like just all these podcast guests. Had I ever thought I'd have 150 people that I would be on my podcast, I would be laughing at you a year and a half ago. But now, like all the people that think in my sense of like what my mission is, they're coming to
Mhm.
me and they're sharing their stories, and I feel like that there's an energy there. There's something with each and every guest that has something
Mhm.
to offer to the world. And in fact, you're doing amazing work. And I mean, just
Thank you.
keep up the amazing work that you do. And before we take off, can you just leave us with, like, let's say somebody they've tried the manifestation and the law of attraction, and they
Mhm.
went through just a lot of trauma in their life, but they just don't know where to start. And they don't want to, I mean, they've tried and they haven't succeeded with a lot of things, but where would they just start, just in the beginning, just to get the ball rolling? What would you kind of guide them to?
I would suggest that they should start reading books on manifestation. They should
Hmm.
start watching videos that inspire them.
Hmm.
I think when you start to kind of look at other people's stories
Hmm.
and where they started and where they are now, it inspires you to want that as well.
Hmm.
And you relate to that. I think when you've struggled, or if you've had trauma in your life
Hmm.
and you see someone else who is living their dream life,
Yeah.
you relate to them, because you're like, they used to be where I am, so why
Yeah.
can't I be there, right? So you're not any less. And
Yeah.
I would say really focus on building up your confidence,
Hmm.
getting out into nature. I feel like nature
Hmm.
grounds you. And journaling, I love journaling, because sometimes you don't know how you feel until you just start writing. You write like one
Yeah.
sentence down, and then you keep going, and you're like, I didn't know I felt this way. And
Yeah.
like, it really start to
Hmm.
self reflect on your life,
Hmm.
journal, get inspired, and really just set a strong intention. Like, set an intention that, I want to feel better. I want to get out of this negative mindset. How do I do this? I
Yeah.
feel like when you set a strong intention, the
Yeah.
universe conspires to kind of bring you the tools that you need to help you get out of that state of mind.
Yeah. That totally makes so much sense. I hope you guys are getting a lot out of this episode because I know like a lot of you guys have tried to like I've talked to so many people that are trying to open their business, do
Mhm.
coaching, or just change their life to a new career, but they keep on kind of going in the same circle over and over and the same problems. Once you change that narrative, change the environment, your energy levels will go up and you'll attract the right people in your life.
Yeah.
We're two people just living proof that it can be done. I mean, it's not random that we kind of just came across each other. I feel like there's a reason, like her mission, what the stuff that I do, it's just the energy just kind of just attracted, and so I'm very picky with my guests. So I am such an honor to have you, and I love what you're doing. Can you just
Thank
tell
you.
our audience, where we can find you and on social media?
So I am on Instagram at Manifest with Nidhi. My name is Nidhi. So Manifest with Nidhi. And yeah, I am really just happy to be on your
Yeah.
podcast. And I think this was a great conversation.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for having me.
It was an honor.
Thank you.
You guys check her out. All the information will be in the bio. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, or if you're listening on the podcast, if you can leave a review, it would make my day. Stay tuned. We have a lot more guests coming on this week. And with that said, we are out.